What was interesting to me was I was such a fan of the original franchise. I was 14 when the first one came out, and so being a true fan of it and having the opportunity to not reboot or remake it, but to expand on that universe was the biggest opportunity for me. And I speak for Tessa as well. We both talked about this on the tour the last couple of weeks, and to give it a more of a global feel, take that in New York. We shot in Italy and London and Marrakesh and Morocco and Sahara Desert, Paris, and then also having a female lead at the forefront of it. There's always been women in the organisation of MIB. Tessa, Emma Thompson reprises her role, but to have Tessa right front and centre of this thing was, I think, what made it feel fresh and unique to us, and who better than her? She embodies kind of everything that's right about that statement in itself. Just having worked together a number of times, you get lucky at times, and often you have to work for it and find that chemistry and find that sort of nuance and the rhythm. But the first time we worked together on Ragnarok in Thor was we hit it off and became great friends, and have sort of capitalised on that now. And I think, for me personally, the fact that she was doing this film was a big incentive and gave it a lot of comfort in jumping on, and knowing that I had a collaborative partner in the process. So it's great. Big concern for us too was, or concern, but a need and a want was to utilise the chemistry we had to maximise the humour, but also to make sure the film had a great amount of fun in it, and that's why I go to the cinema. That's why I became an actor, was to be taken on a ride, and the fun, the adventure, and the comedy, and that was what this film was about. Was a lot of improvisation, and as I said, using our sort of chemistry. But we had fantastic writers. We had F. Gary Gray at the centre of it, and encouraging that. So we had a blast making it, and I think it's a blast sort of seeing it. And so this is the reason, as I said, I went to the cinemas as a kid, the larger-than-life sort of elements, the sci-fi feel to it, the comedy, the fun, the adventure. And I think there's sort of, you can't rival that no matter how good your sound system at home gets, but the special effects and so forth in the big screen, on the big screen, is unlike any other.
What I like about it is that it's not a reboot, it's a continuation, but it's a much bigger scope, so it's all over the world. It's not just one city, it's new teams, a lot of new types of aliens, new threats. So that's what I like about it, is that it exists in the Men in Black universe. We're not erasing anything, but we're just expanding it. I think the big defining thing about Men in Black is that it's very, very funny. So this one is also very, very funny. It's a lot of jokes, if there were aliens on Earth hiding, there would be funny stuff that would happen, and this movie really gets to that. So my character's name is Pawnee. He's like a little alien guy that sort of ends up joining Agent M and Agent H on their mission. And he meets them about halfway through the movie, and then he's sort of part of the team. First of all, I think every movie should be seen on the big screen. This one especially, there's such huge, amazing special effects. And I think comedy should be seen on a screen because you get to share that experience with a bunch of people. But a movie of this scope really should be seen in the theater. I've been a fan of Men in Black for so long, so when they called me asking if I wanted to do it, it was a no-brainer for me. I couldn't say yes fast enough. It's great because we've seen Tessa and Chris on screen together before, but they playing such different characters, so it's interesting. They have a completely different. They have this chemistry, but their rapport in the movie is completely different. Their relationship is completely different. So it'll be, I think people will understand. I want to see them do 10 completely different movies together.
We're the villains.
The amazing, sexiest aliens in the world.
Oh my God, he says so. Well, believe him. You don't even think you're at work a second when you actually just feed on your good character. We were so in it that sometimes I believe outside I had a superpower.
It works.
It was amazing.
It works.
It was amazing.
To be in the front of the big screen, I have no words. It was like, I've been waiting for this month for a minute, so thank you. No, you're welcome. So it's like, so that's what it is now.
We have very, very big shoes to fill. It's a franchise that people hold very close to their heart. Everyone loves Men in Black, so you had to think of a way to make it engaging to audiences that love the movie and audiences that might be new to it. And I think integral to that is the great new cast, that you've got Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson leading the way. I was very lucky to be a part of it. We've got Liam Neeson, Emma Thompson. You've got old and new. They're not old, but established and new. You've got F. Gary Gray at the helm, one of our finest filmmakers. The writers have done a great job in making it fresh and relevant. There's some great characters, some great villains, some wonderful performances, and as I say, a really established, fantastic cast of people who all cared about making this the best possible movie.
We never wanted to remake the film, we wanted to really continue on in the same spirit of the original franchise. And first of all, we take the film into a global space. We've only seen the organization here in New York City, so we take it across the world to London, to Marrakesh, to Italy, to the Sahara Desert, to Paris, and then back to New York. So I think it's really, global in scope, which adds a new element. Obviously, Chris and I take over the helm from some pretty big shoes, but I think that adds a real new, fresh dynamic to the piece. We have tons of new aliens and gadgets, and I think the film is fresh because it's made at this time with a more modern sensibility. And obviously, there's always been women inside of the organization. There's never been a female protagonist inside of one of these films. I think that's really new and original. Everyone has had the experience of meeting someone and sort of liking them right away. I think the truth is now Chris and I have worked together for a number of years. Now I know why I like him. I know all the things that are true about him, which is he's just so kind and sweet and generous as an actor. He has a lovely family that he cares about deeply, so it's not just about the work. All those things are really admirable about him. But I think in terms of us, we have a working dynamic in which we feel free to try anything in front of each other, and also free enough to say what you just did wasn't that good. And I think there's something about that makes for a dynamic that is really honest, and hopefully you get some good stuff out of it.
If we would have been told, what was it, 23, 24 years ago, you're going to be here 24 years later doing a fourth one, we would have never believed it. And I think that is what's special. I mean, for whatever reason, there was something about that first comic book, that cover that we saw with these agents in black suits and sunglasses and cool weapons that knew a reality in our world that the audience didn't know about, that struck us as something very special. And just so the fact that there may be an audience for this long after is a really great thing.
We always imagined, even though the first three took place in New York, we always, in our heads, there were other agencies. And deciding that the first three, we'd sort of told that story and all of the cast agreed, we'd completed it. Not only did we want to recast the movie, but take it into new locations. The inspiration for this began with the character of young Molly, played by Tessa Thompson, a young girl who has an alien sighting and spends the rest of her, life into her 20s trying to find the Men in Black. And the international setting for us just gave us many more opportunities for action and adventure and opened it up. Casting Chris was so important. There are very few, if there are any others right now, leading men who are as comically gifted as he is. And that's key.
It was interesting even from the very beginning. I remember was having the conversation, which is we need to cast actors who are really adept at comedy as opposed to quote-unquote comedians.
Yeah.
And Tommy Will absolutely is the case. Tessa, extraordinary comic chops. As Laurie says, Chris has a very particular comic gift, which makes it totally unfair for the rest of us that you get to look like Chris Hemsworth and be funny.
All right.
So, Chris.
Tom, is it?
It is, yeah. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Just Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Tell me about Spider-Man. Why wasn't Thor in that one?
Oh, because, you know, it was really for, like, the front-running Avengers in this movie. You know, it's all about kind of who's going to step up and take RDJ's spot.
Which is why I asked, where was Thor? That's why.
The last time I saw you, you were a little bit portly.
Yeah.
How have you, I mean...
Oh, it was. I just went full method on that one.
You did, did you?
This
Yeah.
is my Oscar attempt.
Yeah.
And so I sort of blew out intentionally.
Sure. Good for you.
Beard.
The beard was real.
I'm pretty sure I got it in the bag. Actually, I've already cleared the mantelpiece for the thing.
I imagine so.
I saw a copy of this down at the markets in Kuta.
Did you? Sick.
They've recast you already.
Who with?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, really?
Tom, who's your favourite actor in the whole world? You can say.
Liam Hemsworth is up there, man. He's great.
He's great.
In the Hunger
isn't he?
Games
Yeah.
is really good.
Any other Hemsworths that?
Luke Hemsworth's also
yeah.
super talented.
Yeah.
Super
And
talented.
if you had to have one more Hemsworth, would there be?
I think
Would it start with a C?
India Hemsworth has potential. She
India.
could grow up to be a
Yeah.
great actress one day, I'm sure.
Okay, let's move on. Tell us about Men in Black.
I just knew this one was going to be like slam dunk, amazing.
Thank you. Everyone who's seen it has said it's their favourite film in the history of cinema.
They have they?
Yeah,
Who's
yeah.
seen it?
The smartest group of people
Right.
in the world. We assembled them.
Avengers
and
Assembled.
Kind of like Avengers, but
Yeah.
critically.
Sick.
And they went and watched it and said, best movie of all time. Why about this film?
It's only super exciting and it's adventurous and the action's way bigger and it's just like the continuation of the biggest cinematic moment in history.
Terrific.
Amazing. Thanks, mate.
Love you.
Lots of love, mate.
Thanks, Tom.
See you soon.